There is that king of Scots, not of a land, but of a people. Up in the Highlands though, the clans are unruly. They only hold allegiance to their own. They disregard the king. They taunt the Vikings, they do as they please. And the worst of them are the MacMorgan clan. Be very careful there. The natives are dangerous, language incomprehensible, and the weather is awful. MacMorgan clan, the Troublemakers of Scotland. Morgan, the founder of MacMorgan clan, was the chief of the tribe of Ross. He thought of himself as martial man, which was true in upbringing. Sadly, he lacked all talent to be a commander. Still, he carried himself as such and never lacked the spirit for a fight. Having seen the gears between the wheels of recent Christian conversion has made him a cynical man. Raised in proximity and indeed contact to the Norse nearby island of Orkney made him know his Vikings neighbours as men, not demons. Thus, it should not come as a surprise to our contemporaries that in the year 867 Morgan MacMorgan set out to become a warrior by joining a pagan warrior society, the ardently named the Wolf Warriors. It was as scandalous then as it would be now, of course, and the Bishop of Gowrie, the only powerful vassal on the council, has inquired for an explanation at court. Chief Morgan had this to say: "The thing is, I am yet healthy and brave, and I still have some 14 years in me. There won't be a time to train at 50. Now is the time to train." And so the bargain was struck. Morgan would face another man of the Wolf Warriors in duel in his initiation ritual. There were still others who cautioned otherwise. Morgan's wife, the chiefess Muriel, was one such advisor. Though unpious, like her husband, she was well versed in legalities and warned against the consequences of such action. "This shall not please the bishop," she would say. "Nothing I do will please the bishop, dear. Just look at him. Co-chaplain, Heilmonier, commander and designated regent besides. What else does he want? I've given him all the titles and respect I have to give. If that doesn't sate him, nothing will. No, he will always love the Pope more and pay him tribute." So it was done. It wasn't long before the challenger appeared, a young Norseman by the name of Arne of Holland. Tough and quick to anger, hid behind a soldier's chest a craven's heart. Confident in being able to exploit it, Morgan charged into his opponent headlong. A scared sword-swinging man is still a man who swings sword, however, and Morgan winced at the blow to the side of his head. The blades were dealt for the occasion, but his eye blackened nonetheless. Morgan lost the duel, to be fair, and the pagans laughed. But it wasn't the sort of laugh you would hear at court. They did not laugh at him, nor cheer the opponent. They simply laughed in revelry. This sort of celebration of life in the warrior society appealed to Morgan greatly, and before long, in recognition of his brave, if foolish, charge, he was accepted into its ranks. Of next year, Danes would invade Northumbria over vengeance of some dead Viking king, killed in a snake pit. Scotland would come in defense of Northumbrians. But not every tribe would heed this call of arms, however. "Who is this king to me?" Morgan is reported to have said. "I answer to the High Chief of Moray, the High Chief of the Highlands. If a king calls him, let him go. This is not Northumbria. We are free folk. We are free to do as we will. I am no vassal of his." Chief Morgan wouldn't shy away from the fight. He had a different idea, however. He would help against the Vikings, but in his own way. The Norse were away to war and left their islands undefended. It was a great time for a raid. With his focus on war and battle, Morgan's ability for command improved that year greatly, and he was itching to test those skills. Chiefess Muriel disapproved the matter enough she would bring it before the Chancellor, privately. "Warrior at 37, she confided. "Wounds and bruises with a start. Now he talks on raiding Vikings. My husband means to kill himself, and I cannot forbid him." "You cannot?" the Chancellor agreed. "What am I to do?" "If you oppose him, he will go. If you do not, he will go as well." "Am I to agree to a folly?" "The folly will pass, my lady. It is best to come out a supportive wife by the end." The chiefess would approve of her husband on one condition. He would pursue whatever course he wished once he has healed of his wounds. This he grudgingly agreed to. Morgan did not relent in the strength of his pursuits, however. The Marshal has been drilling his commanders into shape, to good effect. A small spear-throwing competition was also organized at court. The men gathered around midday to see who could throw a spear the farthest. Mead and revelry dragged the event well into the evening, and by night, the spears were thrown in whichever direction, regardless of the shooting range. This carelessness resulted in a tragic mishap. One spear weared off its course in the dark and pinned the Chancellor to the ground. He died mangled 2 days later. The commander who has improved the most has managed to win the competition as well. It certainly wasn't the time to celebrate. The man who has championed Morgan's cause the most has died, and the realm was left without its Chancellor. The death of his advisor seemed to prove his folly. This has frustrated Morgan to no end. He grew accustomed to fits of fury. Quick to anger and slow to cool down, he would apologize profusely after his rage. He never hurt any man or woman, but every manservant knew better to avoid his wrath. In May, a letter arrived from one of the warriors' lodge. He had been attacked by another Norseman in Norway and asked for military assistance. In exchange, he would increase Morgan's standing within the warrior society. This was strongly opposed in the council. Muriel had reminded of the promise Morgan had made. His marshal heeded that they have spent time drilling commanders, and it would take more time to marshal the necessary forces. In the end, Morgan relented, to muster the forces, and he would wait. The wound would heal in time, leaving a scar over his eye. Still, he did not march, for the levy was yet to be ready. Morgan filled his time with other pursuits. He still had to pay respect to the Bishop of Gowrie, which he did by visit. Unfortunately, the talk of church made him bored beyond belief. He got a little too absorbed in his drink. Steward Mayor has been ardent in his administrative duties. Local harvest festivals have increased the tribe's income. By the time the tribe would be ready for battle, the war between the two Norse chiefs have all but dissipated, nor there were any signs of Norse nearby. The good service had to be rewarded, however. Morgan called in court into his hall. He bestowed these honors. Marshal Fingal, in recognition of your fine service in whipping our ill commanders into shape, to be rewarded honorary title of Master of Horse. Steward Mayor, in recognition of your fine service in administering the realm, I grant you the title of Master of Hunt. These titles given and formalities out of the way, it was a time to forget past worries and celebrate. And celebrate most of all was Morgan. Morgan noticed a brother within the Wolf Warriors flinching at jokes and turning down sparring matches. He decided to offer the man some guidance. The man rejected the offer, weary of Christians, craven, or perhaps proud. It mattered not. Another opportunity came when the Warrior Society issued Morgan a challenge. He was to raid and ransack Moray clan. "Moray clan! They are truly mad," Morgan declared. "Attack my own High Chief! With what numbers? For what reason? Do they not know the man?" High Chief Hugh of Moray ruled through the lesser clans in the Highlands. Clan MacGirrig of Caithness up north, and Clan Morgan of Ross were but two of his most powerful vassals. The man was rumored to be a cannibal besides, but Morgan never took this seriously. "They say that all about Highlanders," he said. While the Morgan clan was preparing to raid, the Northumbrians were losing the war against the Danes, despite Wessex, Meath and Mercia's assistance. Chief Morgan had 3 daughters and no sons, and though he always treated them kindly, he knew the succession question would eventually arise in the future. For now, he raised them as his heirs. Dervorgila was the eldest of the 3. She was a rowdy, haughty and playful child, a delight to everyone at court. Her father's wish was that she would receive a martial education, most unusual for a young girl. Morgan insisted it would be necessary should she come to rule. No doubt his upbringing played a role as well. For his middle daughter, Morag also received the same instruction. She was said to be well suited to it though. The youngest, Bethok, at 10, was a curious and humble child, willing to mingle with the highborn children as well as the low. She grew in a manner more befitting that of a lady. Though Morgan seemed well contented with his daughters, Chief Desmariel had suspected he would be delighted with a boy. In autumn of 868 the order was finally given. Morgan clan would mount a raid on the Isles. "It is time. Look fearsome, lads. Vikings raid Europe. And who raids the Vikings? MacMorgan clan!" MacMorgan set a few troops to attack the tribal holdings of the Isles. In fact, the garrison was larger than their number. Still, they couldn't cover every single farmstead, mill, and must cover the hovel with a soldier. They plundered, taking everything that wasn't nailed down and bringing it back. Soon the gold began trickling in. A month after Morgan has left the raid, Muriel announced she was with a child. Not a pious woman, the Bishop Kenneth was most surprised to receive her at the house of God. "It is seldom I see you, my lady. Please, come in. For what shall we pray?" "A son," she said. Morgan himself was away and would not be aware of the news for months. He would return before the end of the year, 2 months later and 10 gold pieces richer, and would welcome the news with open arms. By then the kingdom had plunged into chaos. The Danes carved out a new kingdom in place of Northumbria, and the great heathen army was on march for Buchan. Morgan's eyes were elsewhere though. He stuck by the side of his wife during the term, comforting her with attention and gifts. It is said that he spent half the gold he earned on the raid to keep her happy. In light of recent events and the danger increasing, it was necessary to bond for protection. To do this, A betrothal was arranged between Morgan's second daughter and the heir to the MacGirrick clan. Soon an alliance was forged between MacGirricks and MacMorgans, but in doing so a branch of a MacMorgan tree was severed. The children of the union would be MacGirricks, not Morgans. Morgan did not forget his ambition to prove as a warrior. He asked his steward to join him in training, and soon the two men grew close. They sparred through mornings, sat on council matters during the day, and infrequently joined each other for evening meals as well. Muriel came into labor in May of 869. Instead of a son she prayed for, she had delivered two twin girls. The senior was a normal babe, but the junior was sick and frail. The housewife feared she would not survive infancy. Her mother spent all her time with the babe, secluding herself in the chambers. Morgan, meanwhile, found little solace in the mug. One late evening he emerged from his stupor and demanded the council to be called at once. The councillors gathered in their night cloaks, sleepy, irritated, and looked to each other for answers, but none could say. "Thank you for gathering here at such short notice. I know many of you have been wondering as to who will rule after me. This evening I announce that my heir is my eldest daughter, Dervorgila. You are to treat her as you would treat me." "Kneel." The councillors hesitated, but did as told. "You are to swear to protect her rights and her claim." "Rise, rise." That is all for the evening. Morgan stormed off to be with his wife. In the next few months, his time would be spent by the bed of a little one. MacMorgan clan, the Troublemakers of Scotland. For his middle daughter, Morag also received the same instruction. She was said to be well suited to it though, according to whatever, you know, the guy. Morgan. That's the guy. Yep.